In terms of property, and I guess it comes at the core why we started the BRIK platform. Again, there's a lot of problems within people trying to buy property. So, I mean, some of those things are obvious problems around people trying to buy direct property, whether you're a young person, a young couple starting in life, whether you're at various stages in your life with children, children left home, getting on to the later part of your years again. And obviously also as you go on in your life journey, different challenges challenge you throughout that life cycle in terms of things that are out of your control. So I guess provides different abilities to try to get into property. As we got some parts of the world who are really making some marks in terms of some of the areas that they before couldn't have access to any opportunities. But I think what the cryptocurrency world has provided is basically anyone from around the world can actually get ahead in life, regardless in terms of what their governance systems are. And I think very early stages in terms of what the cryptocurrencies around access to cryptocurrency can have from people from all walks of life. And I guess this is where the BRIK provides a solution in terms of how people are paying for the BRIK tokens, and obviously being in that environment on blockchain. In terms of the BRIK, it provides again, we are part of the crypto industry in terms of how people can actually access the BRIK tokens. But some of those problems, as it's not rocket science. I think we all know what some of those problems are, but I just sort of go, I mean, it's all on our website. We go through it because we know in terms of there is a high cost to entry in terms of buying a property. So you've got stamp duties, all in various forms across states, across countries. They just label different things in terms of, so that there are taxes to entry. Obviously, the high cost around each profit keeps rising each year. I know here in Australia, like if we have a look at Brisbane in particular, you will not get a property for under $400,000 US to be able to get into the property market. So again, it's those high costs that really makes it hard to get in. Some of those other costs in terms of borrowing costs to borrow the funds. So you've got all those additional costs as well. In terms of liquidity, obviously, you can buy a property, you can own it, but if you want to sell it because life chucks different challenges in life, it's not as easy to then try to sell that property. So you either hold a property or sell all property, can't fractionalize that property, which I guess in terms of the BRIK solutions, obviously, where we see a huge advantage in terms of it being able to access the property, have liquidity, be able to sell at any time in terms of that fraction of property. It can be time consuming in terms of today you decide to buy a property. The process you got to go through in terms of working out in terms of your borrowing capacity, then in terms of all the formalities in terms of trying to settle that property, the lawyers, the various documentations, and so forth and so forth. So I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about in terms of that purchase time frame is a very long time frame. Also taught transparency. We all love dealing with real estate agents, and we love their transparency when trying to negotiate and buying property or selling a property. Again, not saying all agents are tainted with the same brush, but it's been very challenging. I know personally, it's very, very challenging over the years, and that's the same stories I get from the people who are involved in property. So again, transparency is a big thing. again, a lot of people around the world, quite a large, you're talking about large section of the population, global population, they've actually never banked before. It's what they call unbanked. So how are those people who've not got no credit profile, how are they supposed to actually buy property? If things start going good, some of them, obviously, some countries don't even have a financial system in place, or a banking system. But the ones that do, even that presents challenges in terms of people that do want to bank but can't bank because of the issues involved in those particular countries. Geographical location in terms of, again, I guess if you decide to buy in a particular area, that's where you buy it. And obviously it's because you're talking about a chunky asset. So again, it provides that, well, if you want to buy in Brisbane, you're in Brisbane, or if you want to buy in Melbourne, in Melbourne, if you buy in New York, you buy in New York. But obviously you're involved in that chunky asset, as opposed to having flexibility of exposure across different properties, not necessarily 100%, but could be a portion, a fraction of properties around the world. So again, geographical location restrictions is what I call it. Again, majority of countries at this stage, again, you can only pay in fiat currency, so US dollars, Australian dollars, so all the traditional currencies, because a lot of them don't accept cryptocurrency as part of the framework in terms of how people settle their properties. We have obviously some countries that basically legalized cryptocurrency, like El Salvador, and I think we've seen quite a few more open up from that perspective. But yeah, that continues to be a challenge. Finance capability, again, that's obviously one of the hard areas as a major problem, in terms of, have you got the right level of income to be able to buy property when you're going for the bank or for finance, and trying to see if you can actually get approval to buy that property. So again, income levels is obviously always an issue, and the second part of that, in terms of have you got equity and an existing property, or if you've got other properties, can you come up with at least 20% of the purchase of the property to be able to buy that property? As the banks, most banks, traditional banks, most parts of the world will lend you 80% of the cost of the property. So again, that for a young person or person trying to get into property, that can be a huge barrier. So we've got that on the website in terms of just going some of those problems that we've identified as critical points, critical barriers to entry to buying direct property.